Afternoon everyone, welcome back to the shed. Hope you're all well today and having a nice summer. It's due to piddle down rain this afternoon, so I thought I'd quickly get a video in and show you some new stuff that's just arrived, and also discuss a little bit of what happened in the last video that I filmed from here. Firstly, thanks very much to everybody that watched it, and thanks to everybody that commented on the video that I created based around, I guess, the fitter, and I was discussing that. It was interesting to see some of the feedback that came in off that video and some of the discussions about that kit, so thanks very much for doing that. I thought I'd discuss something else that I wrote about this week, just quickly before we have a look at the kits, and that was the need, in my opinion, to have building blocks in place before you start attempting, I guess, more involved kit builds. So I think I touched on this the last time, and I did mention about the need sometimes with more advanced kits that you need to have those kind of blocks sort of in place, and that those things need to be there before you start moving on from simple kits onto more advanced subjects. I thought it was a kind of a pretty simple and pretty straightforward conceit, really. The idea that you start off at kind of this end and then you work your way through and develop up to the more involved builds. So I wrote about this. I put a blog entry up yesterday and discussed how important I felt that was, and I was surprised to see and to read some of the comments that came back on that, as if I was kind of apologising for kits that weren't very good and that needed a certain skill set to be able to deal with them and approach them. Couldn't be further from the truth. That couldn't be any further away from what I was attempting to say if I'd sat there for hours and thought about it. What I was attempting to say, and I may have done it in a slightly ham-fisted way, I'm not entirely sure, was that if you are a beginner, then it's often better for you to go for something nice and simple, learn the basic techniques, learn how to clip the parts off the runners, learn how to paint the pieces, learn how to clean it up, learn how to paint the camouflage, and learn how to apply the decals. It's no good going from building a 72nd scale Spitfire kit which you've painted with a normal paintbrush and then hoping that you could move on to something like a Winglet Wings Felixstowe. It doesn't really work like that, and whenever I do seminars and whenever I offer information to beginners or even intermediate modelers who are struggling with certain aspects of what they do, I try and explain that to them and say, look, just don't run before you can walk. Get those basics into place and then move on. Don't suddenly think that because you've got a couple of little kits under your belt that are on your shelf that then it's okay to move on to something expensive and complex. You may find that you'll stumble over yourself when you do that. That was really what I was trying to say. It wasn't, although I used the Kitty Hawk fitter as an illustration of a more complex kit, it wasn't really about the fitter. It wasn't about the fitter at all. The fitter had absolutely no part in the story other than being used to illustrate a kit that's complex and needs a certain level of ability to complete. So if you did read my blog and you did get that from what I posted yesterday, I can only apologise for that. That's certainly not what I was aiming at, and I was also not attempting to tell your granny how to suck eggs. I really wasn't doing that. I was only using the sort of as basic an idea as I could to try and explain how develop through the hobby. I used the analogy of little Johnny passing his driving test and then suddenly being able to drive a Formula 1 car in the last video. I think that still stands, and I think that's still part and parcel of this whole discussion around these kind of kits. And it really doesn't matter what you're interested in building either. You could be an aircraft modeller and go from, I don't know, building a Airfix Spitfire Mark 9 in 72nd scale, and then suddenly completing that and thinking that then you could move on to Tamiya's P51 Mustang in 32nd scale. You could move on from building one of the Tamiya 48 scale armour kits, which are really simple to put together, and then thinking you could build Mini Arts T54, T44, which has got 1,500 parts or whatever. So that's the sort of the gap that I was thinking of. We all like to build cool things, and we all like those shiny big kits, but sometimes it's worth thinking about whether or not that kit is suitable to your skill level at that point. I'd love to build a wooden sailing ship. Love to do something like that. It's just too far beyond my ability, and I look at those models and think, God, yeah, I'd really love to do something like that. Or even doing, you know, a 700 scale ship or something like that, or 350 scale ship, something along those lines. I feel it's beyond me, and as a result of that, I tend not to approach them. So that's really what I was bleating on about yesterday in my blog. It was nothing. It was not supposed to be a serious commentary on personal ability. It was really just a kind of think piece to make you assess where you are and what you can do, so that frankly you don't waste your money and your time building something that you don't complete, and that puts you off ever attempting anything like that again because it's too difficult or too complex. That's really what that was all about. Okay, we've got a few bits and pieces to take a look at. Thought one of them would be the thing that I've just completed last week, which is this little fella here. You'll be able to see some photographs of this as I'm speaking. This is ICM's I-153 biplane. This is the box. This came in a couple of weeks ago for review, and I was so taken by this thing and so taken by the detail and the quality of the kit that I thought I'm going to have a crack at that. So last week I spent a couple of days putting this thing together, building and painting it, and this is the result of that. Absolutely killer kit, just beautiful. It's also as cheap as chips, this thing. It's, I don't know, £6 or £7 or something. It's really cheap. But what I love about this is that it goes together like a dream. Everything fits perfectly. There's no filling needed on this. It's sensibly laid out. It's sensibly broken down. All of the parts are perfectly moulded, and the detail is absolutely astonishing right across the board. It's got a full interior inside the cockpit with all of the framing, and none of that's visible. So you end up putting this thing together and gluing all of the cockpits together, and then you glue the fuselage shafts together and it disappears completely. But it's beautiful when you look at the way it appears before you do that. Also, the engine is sort of semi-complete. You've got all of the front cylinder heads and push rods, and then they go behind this really glorious cowling. It really is something else. I love this model. I love the model. I love the kit. I can't remember a time that I've enjoyed something as much as I enjoyed putting this thing together. Absolutely delightful. If you fancy something that's small, that's easy to put together, doesn't take a great deal of time, but looks great when it's finished, I really would recommend this. This thing is just beautiful, really beautiful. And ICM are rapidly becoming one of my favourite manufacturers. The quality of their kits is superb. We've got a couple of other ICM kits in my office, and they're equally as good. Just beautiful. So this thing, highly recommended. I know that's chucked around like confetti, highly recommended, but in this case, highly recommended. Brilliant. Okay. Right, we've got a few new bits and pieces here. One of which is this thing. This is Great Wall Hobbies F15E Strike Eagle that's come out, 72nd scale kit. We're doing a detailed review of this kit in Model Airplane International in the September issue, which I'm just putting to bed now. Drew Manton's had a look at this and built one of these things, so you'll be able to see more information on this. This is pretty much a scaled down version of their 48 scale kits, if anybody's seen one of their 48 kits, and as such the detail across this whole thing is really superb. The box is full of parts. There's a whole bunch of pieces that you can see here, but also over on my photography bench there's all of the weapons, and there's almost an entire weapon set that goes with this thing. It includes laser guided bombs, AMRAAMs, those huge GBUs that go underneath. There's some targeting pods as well. But the great thing about this is the cleverness of the design. Great Wall are kind of known for creating kits that are kind of clever in the way that they're broken down and make them sort of more intuitive to put together, and they've certainly done that in this case. So although it's pretty much a traditional kind of plastic kit, there's nothing in here that's really going to surprise you, I wouldn't have thought. There are some intriguing pieces when you dig a little deeper into this. One of which I'll try and find. There's an intake section that goes inside the fuselage, that goes inside this lower tray, and I can't find it at the moment. I don't know where I've put that part. No, seems to have disappeared. Anyway, there's an intake section that goes in here, that goes behind the outer movable intakes, and that's moulded in one piece. So rather than gluing it together and having visible seams inside there, it's one section, goes in there, and then you put the fan detail at the back of it and then paint it. It's really cool, and if I could find it I would show you how cool it is, but I can't find it. So that's really good. You get a radar section in this as well, but also it's the way that they dealt with larger pieces in the same way as they did in the 48 scale kit. So there are no breaks for where the wings join onto the upper fuselage, no outer wing panel breaks as well. Revell's 48 scale kit offers this centre section here, but the outer wing panels are separate, so you get this kind of little joint line that goes along these panels, and that's difficult to conceal. In this case they followed what they did on their 48 scale kit, and they've offered that as one section, so you get that smooth flow right across the top of this aircraft. That's great. They offer you in here two different intake setups as well, so you can have them drooped or you can have them horizontal against the top of the fuselage. They also offer, I found that piece. This is a section on here. I've got a photograph of this, so you'll be able to see it as I'm burbling on right now. This is the intake section on here. You also have a full cockpit tub. The detail on this cockpit tub is really beautiful as well. It's kind of extraordinary, as is the detail across all of this kit. Actually, surface detail is lovely. The engine jet nozzles are broken down into multiple pieces, and they're beautiful as well. So from the box you're going to be able to create a really intricate and really detailed model of what is kind of, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful aircraft ever to have taken to the air. So one to recommend. In this kit as well you get full set of decals, and you have options in here for three different aircraft, and they are from 391st Fighter Squadron. There are two aircraft there. They're from Mountain Home Air Force Base, and you also have one from 336th Fighter Squadron, and that's based in Qatar during 2003. The box art is for one of the Mountain Home aircraft. It's got a shark mouth under the fuselage. Oddly though, I don't think it really suits the F-15. I think it looks kind of ridiculous. I think that Drew may have done a Lakenheath aircraft from his kit, which is sort of obvious for us. We see these things around the UK quite a lot, and I think when I build this, and I'm going to have a go at one of these over the next few months, I think I'm going to do a Lake and Heath one as well, and do kind of have some fun with it really. Maybe do some dissimilar panels on it, have a nose off an F15C rather than an E. So this is new, should be out now, I would think. Nice and straightforward build, but really beautifully detailed. Great kit. Another kit that we've had in that is brand new is this thing. This is Kinetic's new two-seat Mirage, offering BED, DE, DS and DZ versions of this thing, D2Z versions of these. This is a reworking, I guess, of the original single-seater kit, but it does offer pretty much a new kit to play with for those who've seen previous versions of this. Haven't got the two kits to compare, so I can't compare this one directly with the single seater at the moment, but I'm assuming that much of this is new. Certainly fuselage, wings look to be new. Weapons may well be off previous kits, and this kit is showing changes as well in Kinetic's approach to the way that they're manufacturing their kits and the way that these kits are being tooled at the moment, because this runner in particular that carries the two main fuselage halves exhibits some extraordinarily fine detail. I guess it kind of builds on what they were approaching with the F-18 Hornet, and this thing sort of takes that one step further. Panel detail is beautiful, surfaces are really smooth, everything looks to be as delicate and as sensibly broken down as you could hope for in a kit released in 2017. The box itself, along with the basic airframe kit and the weapons that go with it, offers 6 different aircraft in this: Swiss, Australian, Spanish, French, South African, and an overall metal French aircraft as well. So there's plenty of choice in there. All 6 aircraft are in different colour schemes, essentially, and they will give you plenty of scope should you wish to do something kind of different with this thing. This model is going out for build. It will be sent out to one of my reviewers to do a full assessment and a full build on this. So hopefully we'll see what that looks like in a couple of months' time when it's put together. In the meantime, I'm certainly glad to see this. I like the two-seaters. I think they look kind of pretty, and this kit certainly does that justice. I think it does the airplane justice, and I think modelers are going to love it. Also, the fact that the decals are produced by SciArt gives you some indication of the quality of those as well. So really good package. I seem to be repeating myself today, but I've picked kits that are pretty good. So really good package, and I think that modelers that are interested in fast jets, and certainly the Mirage family of jets, Mirage 3 family, and two-seaters are hardly thick on the ground, so I think this one will be lapped up. I finally got hold of one of these. This is Tamiya's Hien. I probably don't need to tell you too much about this thing now, because lots of you will have already seen this and you'll have seen it built up, but it's taken a while for us to get hold of a sample of one of these things. What can you say about it, really? It hasn't been said like a billion times already. It's a Tamiya kit, it's a Tamiya 48 scale kit, produced in 2017. It just oozes quality from start to finish. All of the parts inside here are beautifully moulded. Surface detail is absolutely extraordinary, and it looks like it's a 5-minute build. Basically, you've hardly got any parts in here. 2 main runners, carries most of the pieces, and then you've got a secondary runner that offers some of the internal sections, including an engine blank as well. One of the things that it does offer is it offers a clear runner for one of the fuselage halves, so that's kind of an interesting thing should you wish to do something like that. Don't think I will. I think I'll give that a miss. This is penned for me to build, so you will see this kind of from my hands over the next couple of months. And the reason why I say over the next couple of months is because the shed as you see it around me is due to be demolished. It's due to go, it's kind of fallen to pieces, and I've worked in here for 15 years, so the plan is at some point over the next couple of months to take all of this down and rebuild a new workshop that's going to last for the next 15 years, I hope. We'll have to see. Behind me, up here, there's actually, behind the bookshelf, some of the holly from outside is actually growing into the building, which is not great, I have to say, and yeah, I'll be sad to see it go though. This is almost as much a part of what I do as the models that I can construct. So yeah, it's all gonna be taken down. Very sad day. Right, finally, in here, in this rather anonymous looking box, is perhaps the most important release of certainly this month, possibly this year, and this is Tamiya's brand new F4U 1D Corsair. This is all I've got at the moment. Don't have a box, don't have a full spec kit, but I do have a photocopy of the instructions in here. I also have inside this box painting instructions here for the two options that are in the kit for VMF 351, and this one is for, if I put my glasses back on, for VF84, both in glossy blue, so nice and attractive, and they'll look really good next to the previous ones that have been released. So it'd be nice to see this in a later scheme. This box contains all of the parts that are different from the original Birdcage and 1A release. So as such, there are new fuselage halves and internal details for behind the radiators on the wings. These are the outer wing panels that include the metal sections underneath the wings, and also attachment points for rocket stubs as well. There are holes in here for the rocket stubs that will hold the rockets that are included on these two runners here. These include drop tanks, bombs, and the aforementioned. So those go in there. Lower wing centre section, and this has the mounting points for the drop tanks and bomb pylons as well. And finally, the canopy, the frameless canopy that this version used. So also as part and parcel of this kit, there's the decal sheet in here. I'm assuming that this kit will include canopy masks and also will include some etch for seat belts, but they're not in here. I don't have those parts. I certainly don't think I have those parts. No, I don't. So what we'll have to do for our build is that we'll be using something else, maybe some Edward canopy masks and seat straps as well. But the full spec kit, when it arrives, will include those sections. It will include I guess the same or etch fret that included the seat straps as the two previous releases, and it will also include bespoke canopy masks that you'll have to cut out to match this canopy. Good to see that Tamiya have rounded off this family of Corsairs. Each one has been a progression, and each kit has developed on top of the other one to create three of probably the finest aircraft kits we've so far seen. I've built two of these things, and they've been astonishing to put together, and they look beautiful when they're finished. This one here is not going to be built by me. I considered it, but it's just too much for me to schedule in over the next few months. So this is now scheduled to go out to an author. He'll get this within the next couple of days, and then he can get cracking on this. And then the plan is that we actually split this build up into 3 individual sections. I think with a kit build like this, it takes so long and is so involved, I think it needs that space to breathe. So the author that's going to be dealing with this is going to split it into 3 sections. He's going to do internal sections and engines, airframe construction, and then final painting and decaling. So those will hopefully appear in the October, November and December issues of MAI, the final piece of this jigsaw appearing in time for the UK National Championships at the beginning of November, which seems like 5 minutes away, the way that this year's gone. So there we go, real quick. I'm trying to get this done as quickly as I can because I can see black clouds out in the distance, and I'm starting to think that we may be in for some thunderstorms this afternoon. So hopefully you'll have enjoyed seeing this rather breathless video from me. I'd like to thank you again for stepping in and watching these things. To all of those who've subscribed to these videos, thanks very much for doing that as well. That's much appreciated. And I hope that you join me next time. And if I've got anything new, anything interesting to show you, or any new builds, I'll be back very soon. So thanks very much for watching, much appreciated, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers, bye now.